I pay this tribute in the memory of my brother who has died. Let me start by quoting from the Latin. Tunc meos maximus fracta turis forti mihi fuit, atco nimis e fortitude gentis confessi essemus. Nunc habit, itac eus uxo, me ad fet, ut ad caelum perversenet ordinam animus in magna et aeterna pace requistat. Growing up, I thought that my eldest brother Tom and cousin Bibi Mold were the coolest people around. I hung on their every word. I do not know whether it was because they were the tallest people around or because I learned so much from them as a precocious, questioning child. With cousin Bibi, it was about his teaching me how to tell the time at a very early age. And with my brother Tom, the fascination, what about his teaching me everything else? And to top it all, also about the fact that he owned a bicycle at a time when very few people owned bicycles. Most people who wanted to ride a bike went to Ajimbola outside the house. And of course, that experience was forbidden to most of us. He rode the bicycle to school every morning, and he took great care of it, really good care. And I used to sit down and watch, fascinated, as he washed, cleaned, oiled it, and put it away carefully. As I grew older, I started sharing the same bowl with him because our other brother, Bella, preferred abolo to our staple kinky. It was from Tom that I had to learn the art of eating with an older person and making sure that you took your turn with the meat. Then he left Jamestown and went to Dodra with our father. And I had to stay behind in Accra because of my schooling. By the time we met again at Accra Newtown, he was much older, taller than our father, and compared to me, as a little boy, he was a really, really big man. The relationship was much closer now, but there were several more things in the mix. He had acquired the discipline of adjustment as he stayed with several uncles in secondary and tertiary, where he and Bella had run away, so to speak, from the discipline of Atani at Krobo into the fire of Papa Akwete Lopo at Osu-Ari. He who gave us castle every Saturday without fail to purge us. Well, there were many more stories of childhood growing up, but Tom was whom I looked up to at all times. I was still in primary school when he started working, and he played a crucial part in the effort to get me into secondary school. Mr. Victor Amani also played a role as a tutor, but it was Tom who paid for my extra classes to get me into shape at the school. He had landed a job at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, courtesy of the late Auntie Susie Lai. I suspect that that job was something to do with the accounting office. From him, I learned all the Latin aphorisms that were mottos for our secondary schools and their meanings in English. And this was before I went to secondary school. Then he went on to sixth form to become a Latin scholar of all things. Serious stuff of discussing unseen papers with our father, whilst I listened, totally clueless, but looking forward to my time of knowing Tolo, Tolere, Sustili, Subilatum. He went on to work at Electricity Corporation, again courtesy of another uncle, Uncle Sawyerr. And then the focus all changed from Latin to the Institute of Cost and Works Accounting, or something like that. Somewhere along the line, he had fancied going into the army. So we had to follow him to go morning trotting from Lagos town to Kotobabi as he prepared for the life of a soldier. Somehow, he never made it. I do not know whether it was the regime that was too much for him, but accounting won over Latin. He came to the School of Administration, which was very convenient for me because it was on what is now the western compound of Hachimona School. And I got to meet all his friends, the La Manche, the Nuwa Manche, Mr. Fletcher, Mr. Naughty, and Mr. John Terr, who set up the famous school, John Terr Memorial School, and whose books on management I inherited when I went into the first year. I, in turn, passed on my books to his son, Utute, when I left. I timed my visits to the Western compound to coincide with the time when they were having their afternoon tea. And so I got fed with scones and other trumperies. Maybe that was why I decided that I wanted to attend the same school. Tom was always about teaching me. So I remember that even when he came to England, and I was a first-year student studying accounting, his letters to me were always about the theoretical principles of accounting, issues about conservatism and consistency, issues about reliability and prudence, relevance and accuracy, and the substance over form that he continued to drum in me were all principles that he lived by in his own life. He also knew the value of sacrifice. Suffer to gain was a mantra that he shared with our cousin Zeus as they debated the things that he needed to forego in order to forge ahead in life and lead a life of frugality. I never did get on their wrong side because they worked as a team. I, at that time, was trying to work out my quirks as a young teenager blooming into adulthood. They treated me well, with some respect, and they helped to inculcate in me the art of speaking my mind and articulating my views freely, even when I was wrong. What started as a daily discussion of the 7 o'clock evening news under my father's tutelage, asking us to debate the day's highlights, proved to be an invaluable asset in helping me to build my confidence. Timid as I was not always sure whether what I said made sense. But Tom would ask that even though I was the youngest and the smallest amongst the pack, I also needed to be heard. My brother loved a good argument on any subject under the earth. And I think that he trained me well as we debated every subject on the land, trying to solve all the problems of the earth, political problems in Britain, and the economic problems in Ghana. Those long, inconclusive discussions were always adjourned to be continued at another time. I often asked him questions about the family and the fact that because he had left Ghana too early, he was not able to take on the mantle of leading the next generation back home. But I always commended him that he so admirably played that role in England, always trying to bring all of us together. In one of our last conversations, he told me how proud he was of me, a great honor for me. But then that was because I reminded him that some 40 years or so ago, when I had been hospitalized, it was he who bought me my first set of crutches that started me on the path of learning to walk again. I told him that whatever was happening to him, he was going to recover from his illness. I was very sorry to hear of his passing, and I regret not having the courage to visit him because I'd been shielding for the past year in a COVID bubble of my own. We never had the opportunity to dissect COVID-19 as we had done other issues such as Brexit, and he had encouraged me to try and put my thoughts on paper. Tom, my brother, nurtured me. He encouraged me to explore the issues about our culture and identity. And when I got involved in Gadangme issues, he honored all the invitations from the Gadangme Kasewansako to the annual Homo Festival celebrations. He told me that he was proud to be our only treasure, and also that he wished that he could have played a fuller role in its operation. Indeed, Tom never missed any event relating to the Ghanaian community or to the family. A well-rounded person, honest and forthright, strict in maintaining discipline, and very much an advocate of the truth, and yet circumspect in his pronouncements, but ever willing to help at all times. That was Tom, a supporter, teacher, explainer. Once my brother was my pillar of strength, and we, a family, relied on his strength very much. Now he has passed away, and so his wife brings me word that he has arrived in heaven. May his soul rest in great and eternal peace. Bravo, chulo papa, cholo papa, yawo jopa, ye unu cholem, me, Ade